that delay means that we're probably recording.
Live with Facebook, it says on my screen.
Yay! That's fantastic. So Zoom are a little bit behind that, but it's we are live on Facebook, so we are actually ahead of schedule. How bonkers is that? So it's great if you're joining us, and I will keep an eye on my phone just to see if any questions come up. I'm not quite sure how to do that, but let's just lean into my conversation today with the amazing, fabulous Mairi Taylor. Yay! And I can't remember how long we've known each other. Is it?
Oh my goodness me!
7 years.
Years.
Yeah.
Years, darling. Well, was it at that convention in London?
Yeah.
That is easily then 12 years. And the only reason I know is because maybe it's 10. When did I qualify as a juice therapist? 2012. So it was 2013, darling. Oh, so maybe only 7. It feels like longer. Yeah.
Well, of course, we will have known each other in previous lifetimes.
It's like that for sure, doesn't it? Absolutely, it absolutely does. Yeah.
All of us witches would hang out together. So Mairi, we come on early because we started to get into a juicy conversation basically, and I went, this is what we need to talk about today. So the idea being we're going to roll with the conversation, and rolling is the theme. Ta-da! Do you like how I did that?
Rock and roll, yeah.
Yeah, and so both Mairi and I have been in wellness, and we work. Do you work predominantly with women or totally?
I would say predominantly. I have like 2 men that come to Pilates, and I do have a couple of men who use the essential oils, but yeah, no, fundamentally it's women, because I'm a woman. I get us, I understand.
Totally. Yeah, no, I haven't got the headspace to want to work out how men tick. And I know you do. Tell us some of the amazing things that you do, Mairi, with your wellness stuff.
So fundamentally, where I work is about bringing women back to themselves. You know, it's been a long journey that I've been on myself, and it's really interesting now at the grand old age of 53. And I'm listening to, and I'm seeing, and I'm surrounded by some amazing, vibrant women in their, late 30s, early 40s. And I'm hearing them saying things that I was saying at that age. And I'm just like, let's see you soften into your feminine power, because I hear a lot of masculine energy, and that's really tiring us out, isn't it? It's like wearing us out. And I think because of the journey I've been on, I predominantly spend a lot of time with women, helping them to own themselves, to get rid of, we were talking before about the cookie cutter, one size fits all approach to life, to well-being, and to really accept and acknowledge who they are now, and use that as the foundation to move forward from, rather than just being, or the magazine says, or the TV show says. And one of the ways that I've really harnessed, and I'm loving working, which I think has allowed me to let my inner flower child out, is I use essential oils. So I work a lot with essential oils. Yes, I partner with a company. I've also trained as an aromatherapist, but the oils have really helped me to peel away some of those layers, the facades that I was hiding behind, and felt how I needed to show up in the world. And so I use those to help women, whether it's from a physical aspect of, I just can't get any sleep, therefore I wake up, I'm already an emotional wreck, I'm already stressed, I'm behind, I'm not balanced. And we work a lot on using the essential oils to balance all the different component parts that come to bringing you back home to yourself. Hormonal well-being, I do a lot of work around perimenopause, menopause, understanding the different phases of the female flow. I teach Pilates like your good self. So and who knew lockdown would give me back my love of teaching as well. I've really enjoyed using the classes as an opportunity to give women and the men that come to my classes a sense of normality, some accountability, So I work to a timetable, and you turn up and you get the class. If you don't turn up, you don't get the class, because I felt that was really important for mental health. And what else do I do? Oh, and obviously one of the things I can't do at the moment is massage. So something else that I spend a lot of time is using the essential oils to basically iron women out.
I love that.
Give them an opportunity just to step off that merry-go-round. And then, because of my coaching skills, because of my background, I always call it beyond massage. You know, it's more than massage. So we can look at emotional or physical needs and use different essential oils to support and send you home feeling a little bit more filled up and ready to on with your
one.
Oh, well, do you know what? That's for me has been the biggest challenge. And today, and I know so many massage therapists will be told they've got magic hands, you know, because again, you know, who knew? And you know, the power of touch is so important. But I also gifted myself and my partner a dog therapy course workshop last Christmas. That was our Christmas present to each other. And I've just met one of my neighbours in the park, and her dog ran up to me, and sort of, like, dogs back into you when they need a massage. They ask for massage. Oh. And so so he sort of come into me in a certain way, and then I moved, and he came and he sat right between my legs, and she was saying, oh, he's not been well, we're going to the vets and everything. And I started feeling down his back, and he sort of was looking at me, and then he moved a bit, and then it's called Emmett, the practice that I've learned, and it was only for a day's workshop. And then I did a little work around his hips, because that's where he was telling me. And then he sort of turned around, looked at me, and then did loops of the park. And the woman was like, he's not done that for weeks. She said, you've got magic hands. I was like, yeah. So I might just go around massaging everybody's dogs is the long-winded answer. So when you're what I do, it's really about bringing people and animals now back into balance.
Yeah, you know, I've always admired how blooming multifaceted and talented you are, and wonder where you find the hours in the day to do that stuff. And and one of the things where we really meet is this idea of not the one size fits all, and we were having this brief conversation about, both of us were sort of more traditionally called fitness professionals, and that's the little box that we would fit in, and I think we're both, like, you know, elbowing our way out of that box, going, we don't fit into that box. And and having, you know, creating your own shaped box to fit your unique talents, and yeah, similarly and being able to, and being okay with that. I mean, this idea of rolling with it, you're rolling with it because you're not doing the massage at the moment, and you're doing other stuff, and also what's the word, mirroring probably for your clients. Hey, this is what you can do when, you know, life happens, and life always happens, but we've got it on a huge scale, haven't we, right now? What can you do rather than try to fight it? It's like, come on, life. Yeah, to roll with it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it is that rolling with it. And, you know, we could get into all kinds of thoughts and theories, and sometimes people talk about, you know, it's the survival of the fittest, but I think what we're also seeing is it's the survival of the adapters. And it's adapters and those, and almost as well, it's been able to go with the punches and flow, you know, because if you even think about a boxing match, and that might not be the right analogy to use, you know, one of the things to be able to is to move, and we know this in martial arts, and, you know, that's the whole thing around Tai Chi. And whilst it feels like I do a lot of different things, actually for me, they're all one and the same. And I've almost come to the concept of, they're all about moving freely, and they're about moving freely physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You know, and it's been really interesting for me in the lockdown, because I've almost come back full circle. I started my business very much being in the fit, you know, being about the fitness, being about, it was all about the skinny jeans. You know, you and I, you know, we've had these conversations over the years. And when some of the nurturing elements of my business, which is really important to me, were taken away, it was like, how can I support? I had to still find a way to support, and I just went back to my fitness. And you know, we come on probably the same as lots of other people. I am not doing anything unique or different. I'm just doing it for myself. And I think, again, in business, we're told you should do your business this way, and it should look like this, and you should streamline it that way, and you should have this click funnel here, and la 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 la, and you know, niche yourself down. Well, no, do you know what? I'm a Gemini. I am a butterfly. I want to do lots of different things, but I've now worked out how they all come together. So yeah, I'm rambling on, but it's that whole rolling with it and learning to lean in. This is, you know, this is tough for a lot of people, and I think one of the biggest things I've learned over this period of time is compassion.
Yes, for sure.
Compassion, not for myself a little bit, but for other people, because I think people have been very open and honest about how they're feeling, and you know, and I've really learned to sort of listen better, and also to understand where people are coming from, their maps of the world. Because, you know, I bumped into another lady walking, because that's been my lifesaver over these last 8 weeks, walking the dog, and thankfully I live in a fairly rural area, so I can get straight out into fields and a bit of greenery. You know, and literally on the day of lockdown, she lost all her income, all her business. Her husband did the same. Her daughter got sacked from her job, and you're just like, because you can end up living in your little bubble, can't you?
Oh.
And of course that woman is going to have a very different perspective to me, whose partner carried on working and whose business was able to continue. We're going to have very different perspectives on this lockdown period, and neither's right or wrong. It's just been about compassionate towards each other. And again, that for me is about rolling with it, and rolling and learning to just go, oh, there is another map of the world, and I maybe need to wake up and be aware of it and be a little bit more compassionate towards it.
And I think compassion, I mean, actually, just before this, I was looking at podcasts from Dr. Chatterjee, who I jokingly say, you probably the same, like we speak the same kind of language. And yeah, I like, he's, you know, taken everything he knows from us, right?
Well, he has to, because we're older and we've been around a bit longer.
As the Dalai Lama says, it's the Western woman who's going to save the world. So yeah, obviously.
And a few and a few in it, yeah.
And he was talking about being kinder, and being kinder around, you know, the obesity issue. And I think just being kinder, full stop. And it starts with yourself. It's, you know, if you know this, and we see this, when people are unkind, it's because they're not being kind to themselves. It starts with you. If someone is unkind to you, then trying to have some compassion for them, because when you're kind to yourself and loving and coming from a good place, you're not going to be mean to other people.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I posted that very thing about compassion. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree. You know, more compassion is needed, including and starting with ourselves, I think. And yeah, there was something I was going to say and it's gone, so I'm going to let you continue.
No, I think
rolling with it.
We're just rolling with it. We're just going where it is. And I think, again, it's also about learning to be respectful of other people's views, because I think I know my default is busyness. And again, sorry, this is like we've had this secret conversation often. But you know, that always happens. And then it's like, oh my gosh, we should have just recorded that last conversation. Because someone might find one thing that we say, even if it's everyone goes and looks up Dr. Chatterjee's, you know, podcast on kindness, because it is incredible. Everything he, as you say, he says and does is really inspirational. But the other thing, you know, my default is busyness, and I'm fully aware of that. I am someone that runs and runs and runs, although I hate running, you know, but I run at life. It's like if I fill every moment up, then I might not have to stop and sit and think and be with my own, with myself. And I don't have a problem with myself, because I can go walk for miles on my own, but I've always got a podcast on, or I've always got music. So there's still that element of distraction. So probably me, but at the start of this, my partner works in the food industry. So we were, that his job was secure. I already had an online business and was used to being online, so could take my classes, and literally before it happened, I was like, right, we're going online. So we were already set up and ready to rock and roll in that way. So apart from, I live fairly rurally, I have a dog, I'm fit and well, I wasn't put on a list, I don't have children that I'm homeschooling, I have an elderly parent who's in a care home, which is locked down, she's safe, she's well, everything's a-okay. That was my little bubbly world just became even smaller and bubblier, because I didn't have anything else or anybody else that I needed to worry about in my hearth, obviously taking it outside. So I started this very, very, very busy, and supporting other people who maybe needed help getting on to, Zoom and doing electronic classes, because I felt I had the bandwidth and the capacity. And I had no idea how things were going to pan out over, the next few weeks. I don't know if anyone saw, I watch a lot of mainstream TV through Gogglebox. So Gogglebox on a Friday night is how I catch it up. And, Jamie Oliver did the cooking every, I think he's gone on and he's like cooking a meal every day or doing something. And he's literally in the family house, like, Jules, get the camera, get this angle, get this. The kids come down and, they're all getting in the way and blah, 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 blah. And fundamentally, Jamie Oliver, this little clip that they'd shown starts by saying you've got 3 opportunities a day to get good food in your body. And then 30 seconds or a minute later, because his kid's doing his head in, his little boy, the youngest, is sat there with a bowl of crisps for breakfast.
I love it.
Looks knackered. I bet he never thought he'd be doing this every day for 9 or 10 weeks or and so on and so forth. So again, what's the point of what I'm saying is we've all just had to adapt and roll with it. I'm sure Jamie Oliver would love never to have had shown his kids having crisps for breakfast, but you know what? That's where we're at. Fact of life.
It's so good, and one of the things that I want to do with these conversations is to just show what it's like, really, rather than the professional, out there face, what is, the real conversation. And in half an hour, we haven't got time to get really deep. And of course, we can talk for hours.
Yeah,
we know that. We do. But I actually I haven't seen that clip about Jamie Oliver, but I love that there's a reality of, well, not the disharmony between this is what he's saying and this is what's actually happening, but I'm saying this, but I'm real as well. And look, my kid's having crisps for breakfast,
and I'm knackered. And I don't think it was, at the end of the day, what he was saying is, 3 meals. Of course we can eat crisps in between. Don't think I've now turned back into the food Nazi that I used to be. But it was that the irony was not lost on quite a few people that, like probably a lot of other parents, here's the Haribo, go and sit down and be quiet so I can just have 5 minutes to finish this video, do this thing or whatever. And that's the point I'm making. I had none of that in my life. So I actually was feeling quite challenged by, I'm not living the same life as everybody else. So who am I to shout out and say, hi, let's get on? And I started doing a daily live in the mornings and, jumping on, and I do a little card reading and we'd smell some essential oils together, and I'd do a little bit of mobility. And I was a bit like, oh, and then I just thought, I'm just going to do it, because if people don't like it, they won't watch it. And again, it's about being authentic and true to yourself. It's what I felt was the right thing for me to do to serve and support. And yeah, it's been really well received. So, we have to, as long as what we're doing is coming from the heart with a good intention, And again,
Absolutely.
your tribe will find, you know, people will either vibe with you or they won't. And I think I've got to the stage now where it's like, if you don't like me, flick past, scroll past. Don't stand and watch and then.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, no, and there is some of that going on, of course. And you know, part of our very brief conversation before we decided to come on live a bit early was about how, I know, you know, I hope you don't mind me saying this, which I'm just going to go ahead and say, and your mum came from a controlling relationship. My mum has been in a controlling relationship. That's the stuff that I learned, and both of us possibly, I know I did, learned to be a people pleasing good girl. And that's what, you know, which is you know, it's a case of, oh no, who you are isn't acceptable. Be this person, this good girl who, you know, does as she's told, and all the rest of that. And oh my goodness, I can feel that there's a big that's a big conversation. But you know, being able to now honor yourself and me, I'm doing the same thing, is, oh, what does that feel like?
Oh, it's scary and liberating all at the same time. And you know that I think that's why the words to Frozen, you know, the perfect little girl doesn't live here anymore. And certainly at the moment, I'm doing a lot of walking around, talking to my mum in my head, and reflecting back and looking at the good practices and thinking about some of the things that she said to me over the years, which when you're a teenager, they're just words, but when you're 53 and you're a bit wiser and you're looking back and you're thinking,
Yeah.
those, you know, that was the little message that she was trying to give you. And then, you know, as well, dealing with the sort of anger and resentment that comes up of waste, if we wanted to say wasted, but then neither of us would be sat here today as the women we are. So again, I think that's where we have to go and roll with it, and not blame, and just accept and say, though, that's the history. But I'm using a lot of cliches, but that's okay. But we can rewrite our story, and I can look back and pick out, all of us could look back, couldn't we, to choose the bad memories, or we could choose to find the things we're grateful for in all of that. So last night I ended up down a rabbit hole because we were listening to Coast. We watched Coast on TV, and they had gone to visit Fingal's Cave. Now, I remember going to, or something about Fingal's Cave, and I was in my head, there was like, there's a song about Fingal's Cave. And then it was like, oh, Fingal's Cave. So I went on Spotify, and there is a song called Fingal's Cave. And I then started thinking, because as a family, we used to dance together a lot. So we were quite isolated, but, you know, the records would go on. And then I was like, oh, Glenn Campbell. So then I was down memory lane with Glenn Campbell. And then I found a song I never heard before, Sunflower, Good Morning. So I've been out walking to that. So where am I going with that? It's like, if you don't look for the good memories and just think everything that, you know, was bad, then I think that stays, you know, with us. And one of the most favorite quotes I've ever had, which I've taken through my sort of perimenopause and into about my menopause, is Dr. Christiana Northrup. And it's a quote I've always shared on my workshops, where she says, you know, menopause is like, it's that transformational period, but it's also that time where it's like you go up to the attic or down to the basement, and you find all the boxes. And if you don't unpack those boxes, then you're just going to carry all those boxes around with you into your post-menopause years, and they're going to weigh you down. And so I've spent the last 18 months unpacking all of those boxes, and then it's felt in lockdown that it's just got, it's just ramped up a gear.
Yeah.
But yes, again, I'm rambling. I'm just as we say, we're rolling with the conversation. But
I haven't heard that quote. It's brilliant.
I think it's one of the first quotes that I share in my workshop, because I think I know from me. I mean, my sister, she asked me and my mum to do a lot of work unpacking our family dynamic, and I was like, no, the lid's on the Pandora's box. I'm safe. I'm in control. I don't want to go there. My mum was exactly the same. We were both like, you know, no. And, you know, again, I've always said my sister was ahead of her time. You know, she was so ahead of, you know, the work that we should have been doing. But you can't use should either. I know everyone says, and I just love that quote. I think because it resonates with me, because I know I've had this Pandora's box that I've been carrying around, afraid to open. But once you've done some work and you're ready, oh my God, it's like we've said, it's just so freeing. And I meet so many women, and I can tell that their box, they've got a lid on their box as well. And in some of them are honest enough to know they've got a lid on the box, and yet they're too scared to open it. But that's where there's some other great people in our communities that we can direct to. And that's one of the things I'm training towards for next year, is that I can then help people in a very safe way to open that box and embrace it and manage, and, you know, leave what doesn't need leaving, but find the good bits out of it as well.
I think that is, I mean, I probably have heard that quote, but it's, you know, you bring it up at a time when it makes so much sense to me. With my menopause was a really pivotal moment, and I sometimes talk, even though I don't go into the menopause thing, you know, as you do. I did for a little while and then moved on from that. But this idea that there's a gift in menopause and we can use it as a springboard for change is, it feels so apt with so many people. You know, we decide to, we're making choices all the time, aren't we? And we're going to use that. Is this something that's resonating and calling and going, okay, like I call a tap on the shoulder, like, here I am, now is the time. Are you going to go, or are you going to run away?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, that for me, you know, when you're asking, and it's really funny that I don't go, you know, as I say, I've, you know, given myself the alter ego of the menopause rock star, because again, it's that little rebel in me. It's like I was not prepared to be told how my menopause was going to be, or that at age 50 I would look a certain way, be a certain way, do a certain way. And I was like, no, I'm just, I don't know where it came from, but I was just like, I'm not having this. Maybe because, as I always say, you know, growing older is a privilege, aging is a choice, that it was like, don't bemoan having your menopause when there's so many women and men who never get to go, never get to experience it. And the reason there's so much negativity around it, again, is because of what we've been or not taught about it, how, you know, and we're just uninformed, and it is scary and frightening, and your body does do strange, weird and wonderful things. But again, when you're educated or informed, you can roll with it. You can go, okay, what choices do I make? That, because I certainly know it's my choices. It's either my thoughts that I'm thinking, you know, what I'm eating, how I'm moving, la 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 la. Okay, I'm going to have a pretty rough time over the next few weeks. If I pull that all back, then it won't be such a rough time. So we can, you know, we can have control, if we need control, in a positive way over our bodies.
And it's interesting that you talk about control, and that's come up in conversations for me around the past few days. And as I remember hearing, that control is the master addiction. You know, we like to, you know, control to a greater or lesser extent, and this whole situation shows us you don't have to control. You think menopause the same, you know, because even though we've been building our body for the past 10-20 years, and then we get to experience a menopause partly as a result of all of that, but we also can be empowered to make some positive changes around that, can't we?
Absolutely. And again, you know, you know, it's like that older woman where they say, oh, you know, the old lady who doesn't give us stuff anymore. Well, you know, we have that actually at certain times of our menstrual cycle as well. You know, levels drop as we're coming, you know, towards menses. We can be a little bit, everyone's just going to get told what I think of them kind of thing. Not always the best time to do it, particularly if you're highly emotional. But it is that element of, and also as well, I think the realization of most women are going to live on average 30 plus years postmenopausally. Well, I'm very lucky, and I'm sure you have, because of what we do for a living. I see a lot of rock stars around me. I see a lot of inspiring, wonderful women, and I don't want to be living the next 30 years thinking, oh, is this it? No, this is it. This is it.
This is it, baby.
You know, let's let go of all of that stuff. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, because probably like a lot of women our age, there's the stuff coming up around looking after elderly parents and care and all the rest of it. And I was talking to this gentleman that I don't really know, but he's involved in supporting the family stuff. And I'd said something to him a few months ago, and then I'd emailed him. He said, oh, well, I only did this because you said that. I said, yeah, but I was being a bit emotional now. And I said, and I'm a grown-up woman now. I do actually need to take a bit of responsibility. He probably is like, who the hell is this crazy woman that I'm dealing with? But I'm not afraid to say anymore, I changed my mind. And this is why I changed my mind. And I'm owning the fact that I've changed my mind. And I'm owning the fact that that was a bit childish. And now I'll be a bit grown up till I'm childish again. My friend, there's a girl that we both know called Dawny Totten. She's coined this amazing, amazing phrase, Queen Ager. I'm like, I will give her full credit for it.
Yes.
But Queen Ager, because this is a time to and a queen, but we can be a little bit Queen Ager about it. I just like, oh my God.
That is perfect. That's definitely a t-shirt. Honestly,
I was just going to say the same. Little crown. I'm on it. Give me something to do. So
I'll have a medium, please. And you know, this is all about owning you, isn't it? And being your best you, and stop waiting for someone to give you fucking permission. Stop all of that bollocks. Just come on, what is it that you love to do? Get on and fucking do that. And you, Mairi, are an inspiration around that. So before we finish, because I know we could just keep going on, before we finish, is there something that you want to share with the world? Is there something you want to say, something, whatever? Yeah. Can you narrow it down to one thing?
Let your inner witch out. Just be you. Just be you. Because the people that get you kind of crazy are going to find you and love you just for being you. That's as profound as I can be. But I'm like,
sorry. Sorry, not sorry. No, stop apologizing. And that is one thing, isn't it? It's like not apologizing. Yeah, no, that was, and I know you have so much, and I've actually, what we both said is that same thing, you know, and you are modeling that for women. It's, you know, trying things, rolling with it, you know, owning who you are. And so it's, you are there doing it, inspiring people to do the very same. And I'm glad you're in the world.
I will tell you one thing. This is what I was doing a lot through over the last 18 months. Do you remember the story Chicken Little?
Yes.
I used to say, when I was going to do something, I used to say, what's the worst thing that could happen? Is the sky going to fall on my head? Because that is it, you know.
Yeah.
Standing up for yourself, saying what you need to say. What's the worst thing that could happen? Now, I'm not naive. There are some pretty horrible things that could happen in some situations if someone tries to speak their piece or say their thing. But normally you might be a little bit surprised at the response you get when you do actually stand and you're queen, coming from a place from the heart and from a position of strength. So, but yeah, when you try and use it, what's the worst thing that could happen? What is the worst thing that could happen?
And on the flip side of that, there's probably a whole lot of best things that could happen when you become your own Queen Ager, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I know we haven't been able to see the comments because I went to look on and I started to hear us in, you know, double time, which was way too scary. So if you could check in later, Mairi, and see if there's any questions, I'll have a little look too. And I'll also put the links of how people who get your kind of crazy can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Well, I welcome you with open arms.
Yeah, and a virtual hug. Can't wait to actually be hugging again very soon.
I'm definitely going to be coming down to the coast. Yeah.
Beautiful. Can't wait to see you. So I'm going to say, we'll say bye for now, and thank you so much. And I will be talking to you very soon, Mairi. So we'll say goodbye, everyone, and thank you for listening and joining. Ask any questions, and we'll get back to you very soon.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.